Please be seated. I rise, giving all praises to Allah, Father of the universe, cherisher and sustainer of all the boundless universes. Extend the highest of honors to his holy and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam. We extend high honors as well to his forerunner, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, the founder of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, who did indeed warn and stir up the nations, Islam. We extend high honors as well to the Moorish flag, the red flag with the green five-pointed star in the center. 5 points represent love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. These are the 5 highest principles known to man. Islam? We extend high honors as well to the the American flag, stars and stripes, which exists as a constant reminder that the European nations owe you, the Moors, for compound interest. Islam? Extend our high honors as well to the Sheik staff, Noble Vanguard staff for keep the peace. And we give honors to you, the eels and babes, for without you there is no Moorish movement. Islam? How's everyone on the holy night? Praise Allah, praise Allah. I'd like to extend a couple more honors, before I get into my measure. When I came in, sat at the Sheik table, I had, I get a chance to settle my vibrations and get into the vibrations of the meeting. I glanced around and saw my brother demonstrating the Prophet's lessons in sign language. Beautiful. See, the Prophet said these lessons must be taken to all nations. Islam? To be taken into all nations, they must be taken in all tongues. Islam? In the time the Prophet Noble Drew Ali was alive, the Prophet went to Cuba. He went to Mexico. These various different nations, and had the nationality card, the Moorish Science Temple of America, translated into Spanish. So the brothers and sisters who wanted to proclaim their nationality pre-Spaniard invasion could proclaim their nationality as Moorish Americans. Islam? Whether they were in Mexico, Cuba, and if we were to extend it Venezuela, so on and so forth. But we need all Asiatics to get these lessons, right? And the fact that the brothers putting in this work right here, translating these lessons, as we go, it just blew my mind. Islam? More demonstrated, I gave a demonstration on sincerity. And, I gotta, give honors to my brother Gregory Meeks Bey and my brother Kyrie Bey. Brother came from Gainesville, Florida. Orlando, Florida. Just to sit with you Moors and get these lessons tonight. Islam? Brother Kyrie flew from Dallas, Texas to be here with us tonight. Islam Moors? See, there's a certain level of sincerity that get movements off the ground, right? Some of this stuff can't be taught. Some of these things are qualities that you have to have from birth. These are the ones that, when they hear the Prophet's voice, they automatically, where do I fall in? They don't take a whole bunch of wrestling back and forth, But even enough, that's part of the process too, because we are our forefathers. We do indeed descend from warriors. So if we have to wrestle and get in the mud with our people, we'll do that because we have to plead with our people because we love them that much. Islam? Because the condition that they're in, there's no saving power where they're at. There's no saving power in being an African American. There's no saving power in being a Negro or colored or black man, no matter how you try to science stuff. It doesn't exist. Islam? But before I go, any further into my measure, I'd like to, precede that with, some words from the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, because this Moorish Science Temple of America and this Moorish Divine National Movement was a movement that he established. So anyone that you see with a fez on their head or a turban or a crescent pin, appearing or in the clothing of that which is Moorish, you have to learn the lessons or the language that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali conveyed this movement in. That's your measuring rod for truth and falsehood. Islam? It's not what I say. It's not what any of the sheiks say. It's not what you find on the internet, Facebook, Instagram, I know we social media heads and all that, right? But it's not what you find in any of those places. It's the one that returned our affairs to us. The one that returned the nationality and the flag to us. It was him. It was the standard that he set up. And for those who are Bible readers, if you go to Revelation chapter 11, verses 1 and 2, it'll tell you measure those that are inside of the temple. Those that are outside the courtyard, that are outside, don't measure them not. Because they've been given to the nations, to the Gentiles. Islam? And that's, that's the essence of the word profane. The word profanity. One of the things the Prophet Noble Drew Ali barred us from as Moorish American Muslims was to use profanity even in the mildest form. So that means if we home, we around family, we comfortable, we loose, we still not as a Moorish American Muslim, Now if you got the Prophet Noble Drew Ali or nationality card in your pocket, you're permitted from doing that. Because what does the word profanity mean? The root word of the word profanity means is profane, which comes from the Latin term profanus, which means those outside the temple. This is the speech given to the common man that doesn't know who he is. So how can a civilizer, not the civilized, that's after the fact, right? Because you descend from the civilizers. How can the civilizers use the same language as those who don't know who they are? How can the civilizer use the same language of one in this respect do? But to one, let's say, they might go home to a swine dinner tonight. Respect due to those, might eat pork. I ate it when I was younger, right? But I had to grow, right? But the point is, if you're a civilizer, there's certain things that you have to give up to prove to the nations that you're civilized. Islam, Moors? Let's draw from the Prophet. Because one thing about this Moorish movement, Prophet Noble Drew Ali says, I brought you something that you can't tear up. It'll tear you up. Islam, you come to this Moorish movement, you come to the oracle, which is Prophet Noble Drew Ali, which is the Buddha of enlightenment, right? When you hear the term Buddha, that's a title, which means chosen one. There's no one Buddha. There's multiple, hundreds of Buddhas throughout time. Noble Drew Ali was the Buddha that came to us, right? Representing the oracle of wisdom. And when he spoke, every word he spoke was spirit, right? So every word had a vibration, all right? So when he returned the movement to us, he wrote an article in the Moorish Guide newspaper back in 1928. And the article was called Caveat Emptor, right? Which is a Latin term, which means let the buyer beware. It's a warning, somewhat of a disclaimer, right? Because he had to warn you, because you have to remember that the nations of the earth, see, like, you ever been happy about something, really happy, you might have got raised in your job or whatever, and you're walking around in your happiness, and you tell somebody about it, and they say something like, we call it hate nowadays, right? But they say something and showing that they're less than happy as you are about the incident, and it kind of throw you off, like, Well, what happens is, as you rise, as the nation of people that you are, your happiness will not be everyone's happiness. See, there are, their whole budgets established based on what you spend per year with foreign nations. Islam, and foreign nations, I'm saying people that don't look like you, right? What is up to $1.5 trillion now that we spend annually, right? So if you wake up as a Moorish American, right, now you got the same, concept of nationhood as the Arabs that move into your community and set up liquor stores, set up convenience stores. You got the same, concept of nationality as the Jews that sell you the clothes, and so on and so forth, right? So now when you wake up with those same free national standards and principles, now you say, wait a minute, we can't make our own sneaker? Islam, which we got a more right now, Brother Cyrus Hill, Grand Sheik, who's working on it. He's about to release his own sneaker, right, for the Moors. Islam, all right? But the point is that when you wake up, you start pulling back your economics, right? Because the Prophet said nothing must be preached about more than economic security, right? So now that won't be good for the people that set up governments and legacies based off of your ignorance. It won't be good for them. So as you rise, they'll begin to plot and plan how they can overthrow it and drag out the foundation that has been laid, right? So the Prophet says, caveat emptor, let the buyer beware. So before you claim Moorish, let the buyer beware. He says, Moors are men, upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follow the Prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown. They are fortified by the impregnable doctrine built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is therefore folly at its greatest height for smelly culprits with their insidious plans to invade such realm. They try and try, but their own bad plannings brings down wrath upon their heads like the sword old Damocles had. Intrigue and scurrilous cunnings find a difficult path to travel within the ranks of the Moors. This is so because the Moorish movement has been well planned by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, whose latent powers are abundant, unknown, and may be called into action as a matter of defense at any moment. Prophet Noble Drew Ali knows the people within his ranks who are interested. They are the vanguard of the movement as the Moorish hordes increase here in America. All of the Moors are active and not passive. A member's interest can only be in one direction, and having traveled over the road years before, the Prophet knows where every member is along the road. A few feet below is another road, where schemers work, where traitors grin, and culprits bask in the sun. They think they're on the road with the true Moors, but the Moors are high above on a pinnacle where they might view the destructionists as they fall for the last time and their bones bleach in the sultry midday sun. Hungry scavengers flying high, catch scent, devour and leave crying out, caveat emptor, cast out the dead carcass. The Moors high above see these plotters, purveyors, the worst that exists, hurl themselves downward to their own works as the hawks wait. Islam, Moors? Islam. Surely Allah speaks the truth to his only divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali Islam. All right? So the prophet was warning, because when the prophet was on the inform, 80% of the time he was on the road. You know, he established 15 temples in his lifetime. Okay? I make an example all the time. There was no national highways then. 20 West didn't exist, 285. None of that stuff existed. That was done in 1933 with the New Deal. All right? Prior to that, if you wanted to travel across the country, you had to get on the back roads and travel. In a vehicle with no shocks, no power steering.
Lights.
Might have had to crank it from the front. Literally, with a crank. All right? The point is, Allah placed on the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, you know, the yoke of raising up a hard-headed, stiff-necked people. And he accepted his mission with such gratitude that he went to these, great lengths, right? To establish the movement. And as he went around, he began to see, oh, there's different qualities of Asiatics, or these ones that come into the Moorish movement. Islam, right? There's some that are honorable, naturally, right? They have principles of honor. They're on time. Their word means, when they give their word, it's, my word is my bond is my life, and I give my life before my word shall fail. Back in the 80s, we cut that off, so word is bond, that's it, right? Giving a life, no, you know what I'm saying? But the ultimate demonstration was that you would give your life. Your word acted as what they call a surety or a guarantee, right? That a certain act would be performed, right? You received that demonstration through the hand press in the Moorish Science Temple of America. When the Moor presses your hand, we don't shake hands. We'll demonstrate that later, but when the hand press is given, that's a contract. It's a covenant that whatever we agree on is going to be done. There's no doubt about it. But then there's another group of Moors that say a thing and mean something else. They call it double speak. These are ones with two hearts. Not one heart, right? Because where's the nearest place to meet Allah? But these cats got another heart, right? With some other stuff in store, right? And it ends up coming out in your dealings with them, right? Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he was betrayed by those he loved. He was betrayed by those he trusted the most, right? But did he get disgruntled and leave and I'm through with this, tired of dealing with Asiat? No, he stayed, right? I love some of my brothers with the reincarnated side of the Moorish movement. They have a demonstration that said, Prophet passed form in 43. That's when he made his transition. They say, well, Prophet Noble Drew Ali burnt his form up. 43 years, his body had no more use. Because his every waking moment was the movement, right? So from birth to 43, that's really, we started the movement at 27. What was you doing at 27? What are the 27-year-olds doing nowadays? What they doing in Dallas, Brother Kyrie? 27, what they doing, brother?
Wasting time.
They starting movements?
No.
They traveling to Egypt to go get wisdom from the masters from the East? No, so none of that?
No.
That's my answer, check. All right? But this is the type of brother Prophet Noble Drew Ali was, right? And he appealed to his people with a divine plea that to basically come and help me with this work. Islam? All right? So if you're going to claim to be a Moorish American and that you're not Negro, black, colored, Ethiopian, and you bear witness that these were slaves given to slaves by slaveholders from 1779 to 1865 during the time of slavery, if you bear witness of that fact, prove it. Prove that you're not a Negro. Islam? Because the only thing that can do that is action. Because we have a lesson that says, Allah lives not in the noise of tongues. Right? You're more, prove that you're more. Matter of fact, as Grand Sheik, I'm going to try you. Islam? And because according to the Quran, the great Quran of Muhammad, it says, do you think that you will say that you have faith and not be tested? Allah guarantees that you're going to be tried according to your word. Islam? In the Arabic, they have that Satan that's on the board. In the Arabic, that's shaitan. And you read the Quran of Mecca, it talks about shaitan's basically whole existence, or that energy existing just to try people according to their word. That's what that energy is for. Islam?
Islam.
So in other words, like, the European creating Negroes, right? If the Moors had not given up their birthright, could the European have created a Negro? If the Moors were honoring their forefathers and foremothers, could the European have created a Negro?
Islam.
He couldn't have. It would have been impossible. So when you study the Moorish Empire, right? At the end of the empire, what were we doing to each other? Fighting each other, enslaving each other, right? Hiring Christian mercenaries, which meant European back in those days, to wage war on our brother, right? We still doing that now. What do we call that now? We call that, respectfully, Tariq Nasheed versus Umar Johnson versus Boyce Watkins versus. That's what we call it nowadays. Or we call it the Nawabians versus the Nation of Islam versus the Moorish Side of America versus. And honestly, do you think that your open enemies, the ones that did the things that they did to your forefathers, and some of our mothers and fathers, you have to do a real talk with your parents. They've been through more than you think. A lot more, right? But same when they put them in the condition they were in, right? You think they care anything about the fact that you call yourself a Moor versus an Israelite versus a... You think they care about any of that? See? And Prophet Noble Drew Ali, in returning these degrees to us, he returned it in such a way where everybody could fit under the umbrella. Islam?
Islam.
If we demonstrate Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius, right? So that means that you should be able to, as a Moorish American Muslim, you should be able to have an intelligent conversation with a person that's a Christian without making them walk away from the conversation feeling horrible. Islam?
Islam. Yeah.
Because as a Moorish American Muslim, you know the science of becoming the message that you bring. So if they love Jesus, you got to become Jesus to them. Islam?
Islam.
How many churches did Jesus build, according to the story? Anybody?
Zero. One.
Not one. What was the name of the one he built?
Well, he told Peter, upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
Islam. And then also later in the record it says what? The kingdom is within.
Yeah.
Right? So upon Peter, which is the rock, Petra, see what I'm saying? Peter just represents foundation. So he's demonstrating the fact that, upon Peter, I'm depending on you to, to help me with this foundation, right? But what did Peter do? Denied it.
3 times.
3 times. Same thing he did to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Right? It happens all through history. It's not new. Right? These spirits that we see now, these are ancient reincarnated spirits. We measure time how? By cycle ages. It's a circle. These things come back. Right? And for some of you masters who remember, you can remember some of this stuff. Why? If you proclaimed your nationality, that's probably why you proclaimed it. Because all your life you knew something. I'm not what they say I am. I'm greater than that. You might have sat in church growing up like, I don't believe what they're saying. Everybody's catching the Holy Ghost and falling out and foaming at the mouth. I've seen that. I'm just letting you know what I saw. I saw one where the pastor's wife fell out and her wig went crooked. And she got it, straightened it out and went back in the pen. Was that round the word I understand, Brother Chairman? Am I okay?
No, you borderline.
I'm borderline? Yeah, I scale it back.
Keep it within law.
I scale it back. I scale it back. True. But it's true, that's a principle.
It's true.
That's not. That's not. We'll talk about it after meeting.
Indeed.
But, we've seen these things, right? Right? We've seen people take that which is sacred and holy and play with it. Right? That's how we grew up. We've heard people, I can't tell that joke. Yeah, that would definitely been over the line. Where I was about to go. But we've seen people play with prophets of Allah. Right? But if you bear witness that these ones are ones that, make themselves a willing sacrifice for men, why would you play with that? Islam? All right? I give honor to my brother right here. That's your son right there?
Yes, yes.
And he's holding him like he's supposed to. Like almost like in a guardian type of situation, right? My brother had his sons here earlier today, right? We're dispelling rumors that, Asiatic men, Moorish American men don't take care of their children. Islam?
Islam.
And see, part of this, the birthright is to make sure that, it's worthless if you get it and he doesn't. Right? So all the studying that you've ever done and the work that you put in goes for naught if he doesn't inherit it. Islam? Okay? How many people saw this week on the internet, Nefertiti? You see this? I'm going to put a couple words on it. birthright theft, usurpation, and cultural appropriation. All fancy word for stealing something that don't belong to you, right? Ever since I'm 45, ever since I was a little boy, that young man's age right there, I would turn on the TV and I would see them have these movies, and portray actors and actresses as my forefathers, right? So I grew up thinking that Elizabeth Taylor was Cleopatra, and Charlton Heston was Moses, and I forget the guy in the greatest story ever told, the one that played Jesus, which is an interesting thing in that movie, because when they filmed it, they wanted Jesus to have a piercing gaze. So the guy, when he did the role, they made sure he never blinked the whole time. So they had to find someone they could cast who could keep their eyes open. You know, when you keep your eyes open and don't blink, the eyes are tear.
Yeah.
So who was this guy that he could just, during the whole scene, and not tip anyway? But the point is, they got this European playing the brother Jesus, right? But the point is that if you were who you say you were, and if you truly honored your forefathers and were building and so on and so forth, could they demonstrate birthright theft or usurpation, which is them literally trying to be you, or cultural appropriation, where they still are the parts and points of your culture? Could they do it? No, they couldn't, right? But right now, because you don't want to be you, our people associate our noble fair's headdress with a group of people called the Shriners, right? Who are a group of Europeans who nationwide, they have 22 hospitals built, right? And if a child gets sick, you can take them to Shriners Hospital, you don't have to pay anything. Because the dues collected nationwide from the Shriners organization pays for the health care of the children. See, that's why the people believe that they are who we're supposed to be. Islam? That's called work. That's called Allah lives not in the noise of tongues. That's called economic security. Islam? You go on Peachtree Street, head 11. They have a temple called Ya Rab. Right? In Arabic means old sustainer. Right? In the front of it is a tall statue of a European holding a little boy. The European has the Fez headdress on. He got jewels all over. You know how they do. Right? But the point is, he has your headdress on. Islam was? All right? Because we want to be everything else except.
Right.
Islam? Give you a measure. How many people read the book Stolen Legacy? George G.M. James? If you don't have it, get it. You must, it's certain reading that you have to extend the learning. Islam? So we must ask, who are the Moors, right? We're just going to skip around a couple paragraphs, nothing deep. It says, as mentioned elsewhere, the Egyptian mysteries and the philosophical schools of Greece were closed by the edicts of Theodosius in the 4th century and that of Justinian in the 6th century. So these were 2 Roman emperors that closed the Egyptian temples. It says, and as a consequence, intellectual darkness spread over Christian Europe and the Greco-Roman world for 10 centuries, 1,000 years. No wisdom, nothing, right? During which time knowledge had disappeared. As stated elsewhere, the Greeks showed no creative powers and were unable to improve upon the knowledge which they had received from the Egyptians. During the Persian, Greek, and Roman invasions, large numbers of Egyptians fled not only to the desert and mountain regions, but also to adjacent lands in Africa, Arabia, and Asia Minor, where they lived and secretly developed the teachings which belonged to their mystery system. In the 8th century AD, the Moors, i.e. natives of Mauritania and North Africa, invaded Spain and took with them the Egyptian culture which they had preserved. Islam? All right? So examples like right now, you're able to, read the book of Coming Forth by Dead, which they call the Book of Dead, right? And you're able to read certain papyri, know certain things about the Egyptian gods, so on and so forth, right? And they give the credit for that to the French and Napoleon and all of them coming in and stuff like that, right? But the ones that had preserved that wisdom were the Moors, who went in and grabbed certain papyri and scrolls, whatever, because back during those days, that's when you conquer the people, you would gather all their literature up and burn it, right? The Moors went in and grabbed massive amounts of literature and split it up all around the planet. Some of the stuff they took to Tibet, right? You go to Tibet, they have a Tibetan Book of the Dead, which they read the Egyptian one, were taught how to read it, and were inspired by it and wrote their own version. That's the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Islam? And there's certain scrolls that were left there, right? It was certain of our Greek and Roman sons, right, that we entrusted with certain wisdom. Hence, later on, when you get, Galileo and Copernicus and all these ones that, start learning all this stuff about the, the cosmos and all of this, it was no strange happening because the Moors had entrusted certain wisdom with them. Islam? Some wisdom we left over in the Americas, right? Before Columbus got here. Islam? All right? Read one last paragraph. As such, the people of North Africa were the neighbors of the Egyptians and became the custodians of Egyptian culture, which they spread through considerable portions of Africa, Asia Minor, and Europe. During their occupation of Spain, the Moors displayed with considerable credit the grandeur of African culture and civilization. The schools and libraries which they established became famous throughout the medieval world. Science and learning were cultivated and taught. The schools of Cordova, Toledo, Seville, Saragossa attained such celebrity that they, like their parent Egypt, attracted students from all parts of the Western world. Islam Moors?
Islam.
I mean, Europeans were sending their children to your schools, right? Just like, in role reversal, we want to send our children to European schools in good districts so they can get a good education.
Right.
Just complete role reversal because globally, they just send their children to your schools, right? How this Fez headdress is recognized globally. Brothers know who have worn their Fez out, right? You wear your Fez out, all of a sudden people bow to you, opening doors. Yes. I've not seen this for a long time. Oh, right. Welcome. Right? No matter what nation you're talking about, right? I have a friend of mine I speak to on, acquaintance of mine I speak to on Facebook, brothers of Cambodian nationality. And he reached out to me because he was like, he said, I want to learn more about Prophet Noble Drive. So what would you like to know? So we started kicking different things. He said a lot of the things he teaches are directly in Buddhism. You know that, right? I said, yeah, I'm very clear. We have the lessons, right? So we started kicking it back and forth. He said, I want to show you a picture. So he sent me a photograph of a dynasty in Cambodia known as the Khmer dynasty. Right? The Khmer dynasty look like you all in this room with feathers on. Those statues are in Cambodia right now. He said, when I watched the videos of Moors, he said, I immediately recognized that as what my grandparents taught me. Right? And that whoever dressed like that has the wisdom. Islam?
Islam.
These are very quiet conversations we have. You see what I'm saying? Every so often they come on my timeline and like something, comment and whatever. Loves the Prophet Noble Drive. It was no struggle because he knew he had a foundation of culture, right? That was left not solely by his forefathers, but by yours, right? The first religious creed was established for the salvation of mankind on earth, right? So we went around and established religions for humanity. There was a time when you didn't need a Quran or a Bible or a Torah, right? Because you were so much the message that you brought. People read from your scriptures by watching your example, right? But when those masters fell, right? Now the need to go back and try to remember, call remembrance to aid, to jot down how it used to be. That's what you call the Bible. That's what you call the Quran, right? And man and woman in our forgetful state, we have to go back and read those records, right, to remind ourselves of what we're supposed to be doing, because we're surrounded by evil continually. Remember the movie The Golden Child? Anybody seen that? Eddie Murphy? Right? What was the main thing? Did you hit the laugh? Yeah. I heard it. I'm gonna let that go. What was the thing they had to keep around the Golden Child so he couldn't ascend astrally?
Evil.
Evil. What type of evil did they put? Remember?
Blood.
What else? Remember the priests that were around him? Yeah. They were chanting those negative tones? Yeah. And how did their faces look? They were all tight. Right. And then, they had like black markings on their face, right? Right? So they surrounded him with blood, death, and impurity constantly so he couldn't access his higher powers. What do you think the hood is? Right? Because if you mess around and get a glimpse, right, your higher ancestors, or whether you call it Allah, or the Elohim, or the angels, or the alien, whatever you want to call it, there's higher energies that you can access subconsciously. You won't even try. You'll just get that glimpse of clarity, like, wait a minute, I don't want to do this no more. There's sisters all over the place. Right? I'm a barber by trade. Back in the 90s, when a sister wore her hair natural, like, cut her perm out, wore natural, like my sister's hair right here, Back in those days, you know, you could walk up to a sister and be like, excuse me, sis, I love your hair. What are you studying? I should be like, oh, I'm studying this. I'm studying that. And you'd be like, okay, and you can build, right? Nowadays, you see a sister, she have a beautiful natural. Excuse me, sis, what are you studying? Studying? I go to Creflo Dollar's church. Interesting. Paradigm shift. Because what happens is, the prophet says there's no failure for the human soul, right? You're going to get this truth whether you like it or not, even if you got to go kicking and screaming, right? So those glimpses come by way of you waking up one day and like, why am I paying X amount of dollars every month or every so many months to get my hair permed and it ain't permanent and my roots keep coming back. I'm just tired. I'm just cut all this mess off and grow my natural. So you're going to be yourself whether you like it or not. The universe is working on you, right? Prophet Noble Drew Ali just tried to establish an accelerated course for ones by, okay, proclaim your nationality, come in, and we have a curriculum for you. Islam? It's like you look at certain children and like, you know, they have these natural gifts. You're like, man, I gotta do what I can to put this kid in private school. Because this kid, he needs, you know, he needs to excel as fast as he can and not be dumbed down by the public school system. Islam? Well, the more science type of America is private school. Islam? For Asiatics who want to truly be themselves and no one else and learn what the essences of these science mean, right? To become what those lessons entail, right? Not to just talk about what the ancient Egyptians did, but to be it, right? Not just talk about what the Prophet Muhammad did, but to be it. Islam? Right? Noble Drew Ali taught us through demonstration. It says the master treads the way and leaves his footprints clearly cut so that all that follow him know that the master went that way. Islam? My parents in the room, right? What do your kids watch? What you say or what you do? What we do, right?
Yeah.
But what do we want to do? How do we want to teach them? Do as I say, not as I. We teach them in reverse. A child's like, you tell me not to smoke when you go outside and smoke a cigarette. I look out the window and see you. I'm going to smoke me some cigarettes. Islam? Hard stuff from putting that in front of the babies. But we have to give the babies the highest example possible. That's my point. Islam? Because if we don't, they're going to call us hypocrites. And Islam, the word munafiq, in Arabic, munafiq, is the word hypocrite. That's the second highest crime in Islam. First one is binding partners with Allah, right? Because there is nothing greater than Allah, right? Now, that's in Arabic, right? If I was speaking Sanskrit, I would say Brahman. Same thing. Islam? All right? Let me move forward. Who are these Moors, right? Okay. In a book entitled, An Encyclopedia of Occultism, what does the word occult mean? Anybody? Exactly. But to the layman, they'll say the word occult is like some devil worship, right? But if you want to go to a library and research your history, where do you go look? Do you go look for Moors? Because who are the ones that hid your history? Amen? So the European nation is true, but specifically, who amongst them were responsible for hiding this?
English, Spanish.
So-called Spanish.
I'm gonna stick with your English. Who amongst the English?
Templars, the Christians.
European Freemasons, right? We under the English, that's Scottish and York writing, right? So they'll take your history and hide it in secrecy and codify it. They couldn't destroy it because they needed the history, right? So the European doesn't have the benefit of being on the planet for millions of years. You don't have that, right? He's a recent mutation, recent to us, right? So what he did was he codified your history, right? So he might have called you in history, he might have called you Arab, or Phoenician, or Canaanite, or Moabite, or all these different terms, but he's really saying Moors. Islam? So in this book entitled An Encyclopedia of Occultism by Lewis Spence, for the camera, right? This book was written in like 1920, around the time of the Prophet. Okay? Under the entry of Arab, right, which is the Arab, right? A-R-A-B. It says the heyday of occultism, or hidden things, hidden mysteries, among the Arab race was reached at that epoch of them when that division of them known as the Moors established their empire in the Spanish Peninsula. It says, we first emerged from the cloud and shadow into a precise and definite region in the 8th century when an Arabian mystic revived the dreams and speculations of the alchemists and discovered some important secrets. Jabir, for those taking notes, write this down, G-E-B-E-R, right? Which is the anglicized version, it's really J-A-B-I-R. But G-E-B-E-R, who flourished from about 720 to 750, is reputed to have written upwards of 500 works upon the philosopher's stone and the elixir vitae. His researches after these desiderata proved fruitless, but if he did not bestow upon mankind immortal life and boundless wealth, he gave them nitrate, so this is your forefather that created these chemicals. Nitrate of silver, corrosive sublimate, red oxide of mercury, and nitric acid. So this more, Jabir was responsible for creating these things, right? He was also, for those holistic people out here, you've heard how, holistic, physicians saying that, if you ingest a bit of gold, you've heard this? Mm-hmm. Right? That is good for that was Jabir. He was the one that was founded by a Moor, right? All this alkaline water, drink alkaline because the pH balance is, right? So when something is strong, if it's alkaline, it's what number and up?
7.25 to 7.3.
Right? Right? The ones that found out the potential hydrogen as pH of a particular thing were your forefathers, the Moors. Islam? So all this is just, they just regurgitate the science of your forefathers, but then they give it to us as though we don't know. You've heard of the mouthwash Listerine? Right. That was, invented by a man, Charles Lister. Charles Lister got that formula from a Moor named Zerriad in Spain in 800 AD. You gotta know yourself, Moors. Islam? And if you don't know who you are, what you've done, you won't know what you can do and where you can go. Islam? Worse yet, if you don't know who you are and the proper foundation upon which you're supposed to be on, someone could come to you and revise what Moorish is. Right? There's a certain publishing company. See, in the Moorish Science Temple of America, we're forbidden from speaking radical and agitating against other organized groups. So I can't mention this group by name. But I have a piece of their literature that kind of fell into my possession. And this is an elder that claims to be a Moorish American that's teaching a lot of things that have nothing to do with Prophet Noble Drive. Right? And there are a lot of young brothers and sisters who want the Prophet, right? But the problem is there might not be a temple in their area, right? So what do? They have the internet. They go on and type in, go on YouTube or whatever and watch these videos, right? And there's this Moorish elder who has taken and created a whole separate ideal about Moorish, a whole separate ideal about law, right? Has separated the divine national movement as, this is the national side of the movement. We don't deal with divine. The Prophet said it's divine and national, making it conjunctive, meaning that there are chains that are inexplicably linked. Islam? I want to read you something from this elder. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the Prophet, you can tell me this has anything to do with the Prophet Noble Drive. Now, this is under something claiming to be Moorish or Moabite. Islam? Y'all all right? Okay. It says, the Edenic Garden. In the year 49,000 AM, ancient Moabite. Yaqub produced the red-skinned people with animalistic experimentation of 12 Moabite women and the Negro Jarivo Araba chimpanzee, which resulted in the name Negro. So we have bestiality. The Moabite masters studied man as a creative being. The motto was, man, know thyself, and thou wilt know the universe and the gods. Man is the microcosm of the macrocosm. He is the epitome of all worlds and powers. He is the focusing and condensing point of the countless electromagnetic currents which, in energizing, become what is called the living, conscious, vital electricity of the incredible voltage, but hardly comparable to the form of electricity known to the physicists.
It's on the board.
You inspired me, by the way. I was like, I can't wait to use this. This magical creative power is variously symbolized in the Bible. and in one place mentioned as the bush that burned with fire that was not consumed. This powerful force, however, is a double-edged sword that cuts both ways. It exalts or degrades, improves or destroys, depending on the conditions. If activated unnaturally without power to control, it will give its deadly sting to him to whom is, sorry for messing his lyrics up. It's hard to read somebody else's bars. It was so unwisely awakened. For example, some people would say that the same creative force was unnaturally activated by Yaqub when he created the red man, because Yaqub did not have 100% of control over each of his subjects. As a result, the creation multiplied beyond any kind of control, leading to the sting of the Asiatic Moorish nation around the world, especially to the blacks in North America. This is why some people call Yaqub the devil.
SubhanAllah.
Now, right? For those who've read, for my newcomers and visitors, forgive me. I mean, that sounded insane. But for those who know the prophet, and know the prophet's language, how the prophet taught, is any of that verbiage, does any of it belong to the prophet?
No.
Can any of it be classed as Moorish?
No.
As brought by Prophet Noble Drew Ali?
No.
That's information, right? It's information. It's information everywhere, right? But is it Moorish American?
No.
Does it have anything to do with the free national standards and principles that was brought by a prophet? Does it have anything to do with this flag here?
No.
Our descent flag?
Emphatically down south.
Emphatically? I said emphatically no, right? So the point is that, but the problem is, you got young brothers and sisters grabbing hold to this as though this is what the prophet brought, right? So I gotta be the mean, you know, I'm, even at 45, they call me elder now. So I gotta be the mean elder to tell you, I'm sorry you took the time to memorize all that, but it don't hold weight here. Islam? You know, when you get your nationality card in Moorish Temple of America, at the bottom of your card it says, I am a citizen of the USA, Noble Drew Ali, the prophet. Right? That one's what? I'm not a citizen, I'm a national. Islam, brother. This prophet Noble Drew Ali used the word national relative to the Moorish Americans in America and North America at all. Is that in any of his literature? And worse yet, right? Are there any rights and duties owed to a national? Study law. Like, if you really study law, if y'all want to have that conversation, don't exist. They don't owe you nothing.
No.
Islam? Right? So, right. But this is what we're saying about, you know, I brought you something that you can't tear up, but it will tear you up. Right? Because the European nations, they know Prophet Noble Drew Ali. They have files on the Prophet. You go on the Freedom of Information Act website, right? Just type in ART as an acronym, FOIA, and go to where the page comes up, go to the electronic archives, and click it. And you'll find all the declassified FBI files for all your greatest leaders. Noble Drew Ali, Elijah Muhammad, some of your great singers too, Ella Fitzgerald, some presidents, John F. Kennedy stuff is on there, redacted, all right? The one for the Moorish Temple of America is 3,117 pages. I've read about 60% of it, right? And you get a chance to see how they came in the movement and tried to subvert. And the whole thing was not to destroy it, but to slow it down, to slow the momentum down, right? And they did that by coming in, we got to change the verbiage. We got to change the foundation on which it's laid. Because the language that it was conveyed in when the prophet brought it was waking people up, right? He had a phrase that said, my sheep know my voice, right? Meaning that when some of us first heard, if you ran into a Moor, and the Moor asked you this, I call this the question of the ages. What's your nationality? You want to get something to get your wheels turning, right? You know, you could be the wisest person in the world. Like, tell somebody how the sun was created. Cool, what's your nationality? Amen. You don't have no template for that. Right. It begins to wake up older DNA to inquire, well, what is it? Islam? Now, the person that asked you that might not be the message that they brought. Right? So their personal example might not be the one you want to follow. Right? In my experience, a lot of times, the one that introduced you to the movement usually is not the one that's going to stick around and guide you through it. They're a bridge maker. Their job is to introduce you to the prophet and go on to and fro in earth. Islam? That's usually the case. So don't get mad at the person. And if you grow and if you come in the movement and grow and evolve, if you run into that person again, try to raise them up. You at least owe them that. Islam Moors? Right? So I introduced that a bit of confusion into the record, because you need to know what's out there. Islam, there's a lot of things that don't have nothing to do with the Prophet. Now, if we want to extend our learning and study in different areas, stuff like that, here's how Moorish Americans generally study. I know as a Sheik, this is how I study. So if I'm reading this, right?
That's right.
Pardon my time. This is my first Quran I was ever given. I have this. I have my questionnaire. I have my laws, excuse me, right? And I lay everything out, right? And I study everything and try to bring it back to the foundation. Islam, because the type of teacher or instructor that Prophet Noble Ali was he didn't have time to explain everything to you. He said, if I can get you to thinking, you'll save yourself. That's the kind of movement you want to be a part of. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to be a part of a movement where the people there, the leadership, is slave holding. Right? Now just follow me and I'll get you there. Okay, it's cool, but can you teach me how to think in the process? Islam? Because you can go through 12 years of school, 4 years of college, 4 more years after that, get a degree, MBA, got more degrees than a thermometer, right? Go to a university, don't know nothing about the university, don't know nothing about the university, right? And still don't know what your nationality is. During the State of the Union address, they had a group of Asiatics called the Black Caucus. They wouldn't right, they had kente cloth on, demonstrating culture. Kente cloth comes from Ghana, not Ghanaian. Islam, okay. But the point is that these are ones in the government enacting laws, so on and so forth, but don't know their nationality. So who are they enacting law for? Even if their intentions are good. Islam? Right? So more, we have to, bring everything back to the foundation of the one that brought it. Islam? Like it or not, this is the man. Period. Right? However your ego want to science that up. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to get around, just get over yourself. Right? But there was one that brought it to you so quickly, right? And behind the scenes, he was missed. Well, when they talk about historical leaders, they talk about Garvey. Skip over the prophet, keep going, Elijah Muhammad, everybody else. But you leave this one out. The one that returns your flag, all your degrees, your nationality. You skip right over him. Islam? Noble Drew Ali's work and legacy is worthy research. Right? And then, especially, if you're in a position of having children that look to you for leadership and guidance. Because what are you going to lead them to? Right? What are your babies going to grow up to? Should your child have to turn 18 and go look for a job from foreigners with their hand out? Right? Should our children have to go to schools and get a subpar education? Right? I deal with children all day long. They come in and can't tell time off of that. They only can read time off a digital clock. Right? Because that's not on the state exam that they have to take. Because they teach to the test only. Right? Is that the parents' fault? Yes. It's not the teacher's fault. Right? Because the teacher teaches to a curriculum. The curriculum is set up by Board of Education based on test scores and so on and so forth, according to the state standard. And the state standard is bound for federal funding. Right? So if you're not at Board of Education meetings, expressing your dissatisfaction at how your tax dollars are being spent, then you I'm a slave. Because all slaves are going to do is be emotional. You teach my child nothing. But you're not going to go and sit at you're not a part of PTA, any of that. Islam? We don't have time for that. We got plenty of time to complain.
Talk about it more.
Plenty of time. But we're free though, right? We're free people, right? But when you look at how other free people conduct business, they've taken their place in the affairs of men. They're at those meetings. Islam? As much as you make fun of the, I forget all the letters now, they added extra ones, but LGBTQ is some other ones now, right? You make fun of them. I know you do. You make fun of them, you laugh, you joke. They're more organized politically than you.
Talk about it.
Right? Right now, if you destroy any form of city property, you are going to jail. You go up Piedmont, up there by North Avenue, Piedmont and like 10th Street or something like that. The rainbow crosswalk. Painted the crosswalk rainbow.
$100,000 from the city.
Yeah. Say it again, brother?
$100,000 from the city to do it.
Exactly. right? But what it is, you go in that whole area, that area is called Midtown, brother. And that's where, because again, right, if you're thinking politically, you move all people that's a part of your movement in that area, in that district, so you can control the votes, right? Well, you know us, I don't want to live over there, but we're the pioneers of a division, right? They come in and be like, okay, well, if you don't like the hood, you can change that, you know that, right? You see what I'm saying? We have people in all walks of life. Real estate investors, we have all of it, right? But without nationality, you're doing all of that for somebody else.
Yeah.
Islam? Right? And we are the international joke. Right? When all the other nations went to go be free, right? They mentioned their nationality and they put the term question behind it. The Armenian question, the Jewish question, so on and so forth, right? But when it came to us, it's called the Negro problem. Islam?
Islam.
If you read the King Alfred plan, it's all right, it's just rain, you know. Change, right? If you read the King Alfred plan tells you what they're going to do with Negroes, right? The updated version is the Rex 84 martial law consensus. They'll tell you if there's another uprising, which they weren't ready for in the 60s, because they couldn't lock everybody up. All that's taken care of now. They got enough space for everybody. You know, they have jails, all prisons in the Midwest, brand new, right? Each one seats like between 500 and 1,000 people. Lights are on, nobody's on them. They pay like $10,000 a month electric bill just to keep the lights on, just in case something pop off. Islam? Because what do you do with a bunch of emotional Negroes, right, who don't know law and who can't govern themselves accordingly? What do you do? Islam. And you have to ask this, right? Sounds harsh, but what would you do if you were in power? And you had a group of people that were only bound by their emotions and couldn't govern themselves accordingly and sought at every moment to get around the law. Right? How many people you know during this tax season can't claim kids that's not theirs? So I got to bring it back so y'all can relate. Islam? See, little stuff like that shows you I have no character. Little stuff. Islam? I love my mother. My mother is a beautiful woman. She brought me into this world. But my mother got caught claiming 2 of my nephews. I had to pay back $8,000 to the IRS. I tell you, this woman was upset. I said, "Ma, my time to be sarcastic. I said, "Ma, Jesus wouldn't have did that." Stopped off in the other room. But it's true, right? You're gonna be tried by whatever you claim to be. Islam? Right? Are there any questions? We have new faces, and I would love questions. Let me say this before I yield the floor to that. This is a part of being free. It's a responsibility. Never allow someone to come up and demonstrate before you and not give evidence of their claims. That's something we do. We sit and we nod as though we understand, and we don't. If I was to go through and pause and say, okay, well, what does that word mean? And I just said, I had a brother, he brought me some documents from this same group that I just read with all the verbiage. And in the documents, he said, once I file these documents, I'll be free. I said, that's interesting. He said, well, I printed them out. I said, where'd you get them from? He said, I printed them out online, but I need a grand sheet to sign them. I said, so you want me to sign them? He said, yeah, well, I'll tell you that's not going to happen. I said, but may I read it? He said, yes, I read through it. So there was a word, I was like, I know he doesn't know what this word means. I said, brother, I have a question. I said, can you tell me what the word primogenitor means? He says, I don't know. I said, but you're going to file this in a court, which makes it a legal thing. If you get tried you're going to have to stand in front of a judge without the document. You're not going to have the document in front of you by that point. All right? If he asks you what primogenitor means, and you can't demonstrate it, what do you think is going to happen? Something called fraud. Islam? Claiming to be something that you're not. Islam? All right? So, I'm pleading with you. Please ask me some questions.
I have a question.
Yes, sister.
Where do you get the resources from that you said that you use?
All over the place. One of the best resources or areas I go to get those sources, go to secondhand bookstores. You're here in Atlanta?
Well, yeah, McDonald's.
McDonald, okay. Yeah, well, you go online. Go to abebooks.com. There's another one called, what's that one called? Don't quote me on this. Google will probably correct you. I think it's Elixis.com. That's another one, secondhand books. And see what they'll do is if they don't have it, they'll research around the country to who does have it, and they'll drop ship it to you.
What is the colorful book that you had up there? What was?
The Encyclopedia of Occultism.
Oh, okay, I wrote that down.
There you go. And that was Lewis Spence.
It's actually the other one. It's a
Okay.
smaller.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Was it this
Yeah,
one?
I think it is that one.
This is the Quran questions for Moorish Americans. These are our actual lessons. We call them the 101s.
And you can get it from the second.
You can get that from us, and we can just get us your information or whatever. And we have to print more.
Right.
And once we print more, we'll make sure you got it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
No
you.
problem. Anyone else? Don't be afraid. Come on, brothers. I'll let sister show you up. Islam, sister. How you doing?
Hi. As far as what you do inside of the community, what is the Moorish people do?
Well, so here's the thing, right? What we like to do is, we like to, take when a person comes in, we like to look at their natural vibration, their natural harmonic, right? And, help that person create a quote unquote ministry around that, right? So some people, they have a calling to go and make sure that the homeless are good, right? We have one such family, they're the family that got up and left, when they came in, brother had to, I want to go out and feed the homeless, I want to organize. Or brother, you let us know the resources you need from us, and we'll help you organize around that. You see what I'm saying? We have a publishing company where we offer literature, and we ship that around the country. I'm an author, so that's what I do, right? The brother chairman, the brother with the gray suit over there, he's an artist. He's the one that does all this. He painted all of these. That's him. That's a part of his ministry, right? This man right here, which by the way, I must take a pause for a little commercial break. The reason why our noble Lieutenant Grand Governor was in his glory up here demonstrating earlier was today is his birthday. By the way. You don't mess with Moors when they in their energy. Islam, I almost didn't want to come behind all of that. So February 9th is 1972, right?
72.
72. Yeah, that was a good year. That's when I came to the port. Right? But we give honors to our brother. And Sister Zenobia Salahaddin Ali, the sister that left. Tomorrow's her birthday. So. But anyway, so, we try to find what a person's natural harmonic is, because it doesn't make sense, let's say, if that's not your, let's say, feeding the homeless is not your calling, and we just put you in that, you're not going to be efficient at it. There'll be missteps, because that's not your natural energy. We'd rather help you find something that's, you know what I'm saying? And here's the thing. A lot of times people have ideas. Right? Noble Drew Ali says that in a man's ideas is God. It's a driving force, right? Now, here's the thing, like, when you have an idea and you bring it to the temple, I want to do this. Well, I think this should be done. This is how I usually come. I think this should be done. Okay. Well, what are you willing to do to get it off? Well, I just wanted to get the idea. I was thinking that y'all was going to. Doesn't work like that here. If it's your idea, you're going to spearhead it. You see what I'm saying? But you'll have the resources of the temple to back you up. You see what I'm saying? So whatever needs to be, we're doing a lot of interfaith stuff, working between groups, right? So we have a standing unity right now with the Nation of Islam, certainly Hebrew Israelite groups, so on and so forth, because, we realize that none of that stuff matters, man. Unity is very important. You see what I'm saying? We used to have a phrase that said unity at all costs. We stopped saying that because some costs are too high. You see what I'm saying? Because sometimes you'll go to pay a cost and you won't be you at the end of it. You got to stand on your principles no matter what. So when you're unified with various different groups, if you share the same principles, then you can build together. You see? So, we're doing a lot of that type of stuff. So, something tells me that you have like a bunch of ideas that could just get us to the promised land, but, you're just trying to, see what we're all about. So praise Allah for that. But we're here, sister. You know what I'm saying? And know that the Moorish Science Temple of America was an institution established by Prophet Noble Drew Ali for you. It's yours. We've considered this your birthright. Now, how active you want to be, with those lessons and with that institution is solely up to you. Like the Prophet said, it's up to man to make or mar his fortune. So the Prophet returned the fortune to us now. How we want to parlay that over into an empire is up to us. See, and you're more than welcome anytime to come. Okay? Please do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Please, come on. That's what I asked for, right?
As far as being a woman, what is a woman's role inside the Moorish?
Here's what I'll do. As you see, I don't have the anatomical situation to really give the truest answer for that. I'm not a woman, so I can't answer the question. Okay, yeah. Y'all were like, what is that? I felt the energy. So what I would like to do, there is 1, 2, 3, and Zenobia, yeah, she left. So there's 3 sisters in here right now. Been a part of the Moore Science Temple of America, Temple number 19 for quite some time. So they can give you the woman experience of what this is. Now, what I can tell you, what the Prophet established it, was that it was gender equality in the sense of yes, but no.
Okay.
Right? Yes, in the sense of, like there's a Grand Sheik that runs a temple, and that Grand Sheik doesn't have to be a man, it can be a Grand Sheikess. Right? There's Grand Governors, and it could easily very well be a Grand Governess. Sheik, Sheikess. You see what I'm saying? The post of treasurer or secretary could be male or female. You see what I'm saying? And we have yet to work on a female vanguard thing, but I think it's in the making. Because that's a certain type of sister to come in. That's willing to search the sisters and make sure that all is well, ain't no weapons. Exactly. Say again? Oh, he just volunteered for something. Brother Lieutenant? Okay. You see, but that was the yes side. The no side is the concept of equality as the European nations are putting it out. It's just not real. I can't carry a baby for. You see what I'm saying? I'm not equipped to do what you do. You see what I'm saying? Y'all shouldn't be equipped to do the foolish stuff that we have to do to protect the nation. What I mean by foolish, give up your life if it's necessary. Y'all shouldn't have to do that. You see what I'm saying? Although there are sisters in history that have demonstrated that degree. Marcus Garvey's wife, Amy Garvey, took a bullet for Garvey. The assassin came in to kill Garvey, she jumped in front of it, took 2 bullets. You see what I'm saying? He asked her, well, why did you do this? She said, the voice must continue. Right? Do we advocate that? No. Right? But that, we got strong women. Y'all know y'all love putting strong before Asiatic women. I'm a strong Asiatic woman. Islam, sister. Right? Islam. I don't personally need a woman to be all that strong. I need curves and some femininity. That's my wife back there. That's why I'm married. Right? But the point is that, so that level of equality that anything you can do, I can do better, doesn't exist for us. You see? So that's the type of stuff we try to put down. Example, there was right before I came to the temple tonight, I looked on Facebook and there was a brother that had a turban on with a crescent pin. Did you see it? He had a turban on. See how the sisters wear their turbans? Y'all got your crescent pins on tonight? Okay. Yeah. Okay. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. It's all good. Right? But the point is that when the Prophet taught the sisters, you can look at the older pictures. Right? This is 28. This goes back to the 30s. Those over there, 40s, so on and so forth. The sisters they wear a turban, and they put a pin right here symbolizing an open third eye. Right? So the Prophet gave that instruction for sisters. Our sisters do that. So the brothers on there with a turban on with a crescent pin. So the Moors is giving them the business. Like, brother, that's only for sisters. You see what I'm saying? Like, just like, some years ago, there was a surge of sisters running around with fezzes on.
Still?
Not in this temple, though. I mean, it was a sister, she came in one time. I don't know. Remember that shit?
I wasn't at that time.
Oh, man. That was good stuff. I couldn't take it. So she came in, and she's sitting there, plain as day with a white fez on. I'm demonstrating, but it was messing my vision up. I said, Islam, sis. I said, let me give you some history on the fez. I went through the whole history of the fez, stuff like that. I said, would it seem out of place to you if a brother came through the door with a dress on? She said, yeah, that would be kind of weird. I said, well, in Moorish culture, for you to come in with a fez on is the equivalent. Would you mind removing your fez? She said, nah, here we go. Took it off and gave it to her husband. Right? But the point is that you have to be instructed properly. This is a culture. Like this is not just an organization. This is a living culture. There are generations of Moorish Americans going back to the time of Prophet Noble Raleigh. That all their thinking and everything is Noble Raleigh, right? So when you carry the movement in a way that wasn't how they was raised, they're gonna look at you like, why do you have that on? Why are you saying that? Why are you a Moor with a cigarette in your hand? Why are you Islam? All right. So these are the different things. We have to treat our birthright better. You know what I'm saying? That's when it becomes meaningful. That's when it's worth something. Any other questions? All right. If there are no more questions, I'd like to do something a little different here. I take the lieutenant. My sister, could I have you come up front? No. You don't have to say anything.
Me?
Both of you, if you don't mind.
Oh, sure.
You don't mind standing for a little bit?
No.
You sure? Okay. Sister right here. I'm looking for something. Brother Joseph. Yeah. tonight, what I have the responsibility of doing is conveying a degree from the Prophet Noble Dread, right? This Fez headdress is not just, first of all, it's not a hat. A fitted baseball cap is a hat, right? This is a royal headdress. Islam?
Islam.
Prophet referred to it as figure number 1. Excuse me, sisters. I'd like to read something to you, if I may. Yes, I'm getting older, so if I do a little squinting, no. This print is very small. Okay. Says, to all, this is the charter of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam?
Islam.
To all whom these presents may come, greeting, the Home Office, by virtue of the authority vested in the most holy Prophet Noble Dread and the Moorish Science Temple of America, by a lawfully granted charter of the state of Illinois, has granted this charter to this branch, Moorish Science Temple of America, at 394 Cleveland Avenue, in the county of Fulton, in the state of Georgia, to be styled and known as Moorish Science Temple of America, number 19, invested with all the powers and privileges of a subordinate temple within the jurisdiction of the said Home Office. Hear ye, jurisdiction aforesaid by virtue of whose authority exists, while acting in conformity with the laws and rules and regulations of the Home Temple and the subordinate temple aforesaid, being duly and lawfully organized, constituted, and established, is hereby authorized and empowered to initiate and confer the degrees of said temple in accordance with the established forms and usages upon all such persons as are duly and lawfully qualified to promote and practice the teachings of all the true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, etc. The officers and members who benefit under this charter do hereby pledge themselves to act at all times in obedience to the commands and edicts of the illustrious Noble Drew Ali, the founder and head of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Home Office can at any time revoke or take away this charter or warrant of authority if in the judgment of our Grand Ruler and Prophet Noble Drew Ali, said subordinate temple has violated any of the principles or rules of the Moorish Science Temple of America. In testimony whereof I have hereunto subscribed my name and affixed the seal of the said Moorish Science Temple of America, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, right? The degree we'll be conveying tonight is this degree right here, the Fez, right? Known as figure number 1, okay? Sister Yaya, come on. Thank you, sister. All right? My brother? Stand to the square. Could you give me your free national name, the name that is on your card?
Azriel Nasir Bey.
Brother Azriel Nasir Bey. My brother, this headdress is a royal ancient headdress. It's as old as our forefathers. If you go back, the prophet said the ancient name, for Moroccan was Moabite. Go back to the ancient Moabite and Canaanite empires, you'll find this Fez headdress was made of pure gold, right? It didn't have a tassel that was about 360 degrees because our rule was undisputed, right? Everywhere we stepped our foot was something that we controlled absolutely, right? And we made sure that all of humanity had what they needed in terms of knowing themselves and the Father, right? But a time came when we began to, fall into our lower selves and, forget the higher, loftier state that we originated from, right? So this headdress, again, being called a fez, in the Arabic language, the word al-fas means triumphant or victorious, meaning that the one that has this crown of life, right, is one who has been victorious over the lower self, right? So this is something to always be remembered, right? When you have your fez on, always live according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And even when you don't have your fez on, always have your fez on. Islam? All right? If you can, bow slightly. We come, take one step forward. Bow slightly. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Allah bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers' divine freedom principles. In thy name and that of the seven Elohim, we carry on. Amen. Please rise. Okay. Brothers and sisters, before you, you have a Moorish American Muslim. Before you, you have a warrior prophet, Noble Drew. Before you, you have a man that prefers not a stranger before his own blood. Before you, you have one that has the yoke of the prophet placed upon him. Islam?
Islam.
You have one before you that now has the capstone on his pyramid. Islam?
Islam.
Showing that he's willing to complete the work. Showing that he's manifesting the temple of the perfected man. Islam?
Islam.
Hold this brother by his standard. Islam?
Islam.
If you see our brother acting in any way that is not Moorish, rebuke him in love. Islam, pull his coattails and remind him of his true greatness. Islam? Encourage our brother, right? And we're going to make sure, right, that he, if his brother's in adversity, to assist him. If his sister's in trouble, to forsake her not, by way of making sure the sisters get that sister the help she needs. Because if that's not his wife, or not his relative, he ain't got too many dealings with them sisters. Islam? We got to protect that too. We got to protect that which matters most, which is y'all. Islam, or excuse me, you all. I'm working. Brother man, I want to demonstrate another degree given to you by Prophet Noble Drew, which is the hand press. Morse press. We don't do all this and dapping and none of that, right? Is that right? Islam more, and then pull it from here. Okay. Excuse that. Make sure thumbs are straight, representing the line, uniting divinity and matter. Islam, and you just squeeze. It's not a shake. This demonstrates firm foundation. Islam?
Islam.
When you demonstrate this right here, ones know that your word can be counted on. Islam?
Islam.
All right? Always remember to be the message that you bring. That's what makes you a Moorish American Muslim. Islam?
Islam.
All right? Brother, we welcome you to the Moorish Science Temple of America. We know you have a mighty work to do down there in, what was it again? Orlando, Florida. Okay. I got a reason to go to Disney World now. Praise Allah. After I come to the Holy Day. Right? But the point is that, brother, never forget the work that you're called to do. Right? If there's any resources that you need, any support from Temple number 19, with a phone call away, we want to, quickest thing smoking to you. Islam?
Islam.
Right? Give our brother a round of applause. Takbir! 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 Allah is the greatest. Islam? Well, thank you very much. All right? And take one step back. And with that, I will lower the meeting. Sisters, y'all all right with it? I'm just making sure. I don't want to put no burdens on y'all now. Y'all might not want to come back. Islam? 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 Moorish Science Temple of America. Noble Drew, founder, home office, Chicago, Illinois, March 11th, 1929. A warning from the prophet to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must put an end to all radical and agitating speech while on their jobs, homes, or on the public streets. We advocate peace and not destruction. Stop trying out your cards with the Europeans, for it causes confusion. There has been much confusion caused by members trying out their cards. The cards are for your salvation. Failure of obeying my orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members that seek to hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophets, or to violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet, and if they lose confidence in their prophet, give up your card and button, cease wearing your turban or fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. For this is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Drew. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet is sending out a divine plea to all true Moorish Americans that they may do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace. Noble Drew. Islam? 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 Islam. All praise are due to Allah, the highest of honors, to his holy and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew, without placing any more burdens on the Moors. I want to thank you all for listening to us long-winded cheeks. We can be long-winded. I know you're tired, back's hurting, you know, get home, get back to the kids, whatever you got to do. But thank you for your sacrifice that you made tonight, for coming out to hear the word of one of your forefathers that came to teach you to how to be yourself and no one else. Islam?
Islam.
Because if we don't do this work, who's going to do it? Right? And I challenge you all. These doors are always open. I challenge you all to come back. Right? Please bring us more questions. Right? Study, study, and study. Right? Having well studied yourself, come back and study again. All right? So this is what we ask of the Moors. We need help of the community. Right? This is a community-based organization. We don't look too much for help from foreigners. Right? We know we can do it ourselves because it's been done. All right? And again, back to our sister, like I said here for a second. Without y'all, there is no Moorish movement. You are the nation. On the cover of their book, the sister asked about the colorful book of Jude, right? The prophet is coming out of the waters. He's holding the sister. The sister's unconscious. She has humanity written across the womb, right? And in the waters was written the cares of the world, right? So his lessons are designed to bring you out of the cares of the world, and on the ground it says salvation, right? Put you on a firm foundation where there's a saving power, right? Because a lot of times society has put you in a condition, you know, in a position to have to do stuff we're supposed to take on, and as a result, it's causing y'all problems. You see what I'm saying? So we want to bring, you know, all the elements together as they're supposed to, so y'all can be yourselves and don't have to worry about y'all the creative nurturers. You know, y'all shouldn't be on the front line worrying about how bills are going to be paid. That's our problem. All right? So, you know, the prophet gave us all of that back, you know, and we need our women. We need our women. Any brother trying to, you know, make it act like he got it, and no, we don't. We need our women. Islam? All right? And brothers, you know, protectors, defenders, providers. Islam? All right? So, you know, the prophet says you are the vanguard of the movement, right? The symbolic right of that vanguard. You see our vanguard, these brothers are on posts all around, are called vanguards, right? These are the brothers, if there was a threat to the temple, they would be willing to give their lives to protect all that are in here. Islam? You know, and we have training courses to teach brothers how to do that, right? Because one thing you have to do is get yourself out the way, right? You have to learn how to obey the orders as they come down. That's military. Islam? You know, and one thing that corporate America teaches is that military structure is the most efficient structure on earth. So if it's not demonstrating military, it's not efficient. Military is always on time, it always obeys its order. Islam? It always, you know, carries it out. All right? So, and then sons and daughters must obey father and mother. They have to be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. So men have their obligation, women have their obligation, and the babies have theirs. Islam? You know, once again. All right? Everyone please rise. Face the east. The sisters have to go lead too. Oh yeah, y'all gonna stay up here. If y'all knew the words, I'd let y'all lead. In fact, Sister Lamont. We want to hear from humanity. You mind closing prayer?
Please stand with your feet at a 45-degree angle. Raise both hands, 2 fingers closed on the right, 5 fingers open on the left, and please repeat after me. Allah.
Allah.
Father of the universe.
Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Peace.
Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
And
my salvation.
By night.
And by day.
Through
His holy prophet.
Drew Ali. Ameen. Islam, Moors. Sister Lamont, thank you very much.